Okay, what's your name?
Stevan Payan.
And what are we doing here today?
Today we're out here to send a protest worldwide with Millions Against Monsanto campaign to shut down Monsanto. Historically, throughout their whole history, they've been a tyrannical corporation that has been manipulating the people, have been stealing the food supply, privatizing genetically modified foods, and forcing us people to eat it. 90% of packaged foods contains GMOs. Over 70% of grocery stores have GMO foods in it. I mean, it's linked to allergies, cancer. But if you look at this sign I made, if you look at the sign, I mean, it's got, like, scientists have linked it to cancer, all the toxins that are inside the food, and we've been forced to eat it unknowingly. Unknowingly, people are eating it because what else you got to buy? If you have $1 in your pocket and you're poor, like if you have a family to feed, what are you going to do? You're going to buy the GMO foods because it's cheap. Makes absolutely no sense to why we have to bear the burden and the consequence for their greed. And it's kind of funny that the former vice president of Monsanto, Michael Taylor, is now head of the FDA, and you can thank Obama for that. But the funny thing about the whole story is that throughout history they've been manipulating the government. Back to when Dan Quayle, he announced when he was vice president that GMOs are not going to be labeled or tested. There's no necessity for it. And so now we have all these people bearing the burden of consequence again. Since the 60s, there's been an upward rise in all these different allergies where people used to not be allergic to these foods. And now we have like this enormous epidemic of people becoming sick over foods that they shouldn't have to do that. It makes no sense. Like, if you really think about it, why should people have to be sick from eating their foods? They need to be labeled so people can understand what they're eating. I mean, if it's genetically modified, like a fish or a frog inside there, and say you're allergic to it, say you're intaking it, say it's creating like irritation to your throat because you're eating it and your digestive system, and then further it could result in cancer. I mean, people can possibly die from that stuff. I mean, why should we have to do this? But anyway, our focus wasn't mainly to label genetically modified foods. Our focus was to shut down Monsanto because of their tyrannical history from screwing over farm workers.
It's right over here, yeah?
Yeah, so this is the Monsanto plant in Davis. And our message is not to just shut down the Monsanto here in Davis, shut down the Monsanto in Woodland. This is to shut down Monsanto, period, worldwide. Stop this global monopoly of the food industry that's keeping our people stressed.
And let me just add, I think you probably know the connection to UC system and the UC Davis, and it's not an accident that they're here in Davis.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This UC system is one of the largest in agriculture, right?
Don't quote me on this. People can go out there and research it, but UC Davis, I believe, is funded by at least a quarter of their agriculture department from Monsanto.
I know this.
I need to do that research myself. Someone announced that earlier, last protest, when we came over here in March 16th to 17th, actually closed them down for 2 days. So it looks like they have a skeleton crew out here today, and they were prepared for this protest. Last episode, they weren't prepared.
And are you, in terms of the work that you also do, you're involved in Indigenous people's rights, and these are connected, right?
Well, of course it's all connected. Indigenous people haven't really lost that connection to Mother Earth, connection to the universe around them, so it's not necessarily like a resistance movement. It's more of like just a daily act of life that happens to be in resistance against foreign cultures coming to invade Indigenous peoples. So it's out here as Indigenous people, just encouraging people to understand what they're doing, connection with themselves, connection with their community, connection with their food. Just that's the way to get around it. Is knowledge of self, is enlightenment. So
that's what's up. Ashe, thank you.
Thank you for coming out here. Poor People Magazine, represent. Much love and respect.